congratulations on the EP. It's being released, next week, right?
Yes, thank you. It comes out next Friday.
Very cool. I had a chance to listen to it, so I'm hoping maybe we can kind of go, since there's only 5 tracks, we can kind of go track by track a little bit. You can tell folks a little bit about them. Before we do that, just give me a little background. I know you moved from Texas to New York, so that must have been and you're 18 years old, am I correct?
Yeah, that's correct. That's correct.
Man, oh man, that's outrageous. I just spoke to a blues guitarist who's putting out an album on Alligator. He's 65 and he was going on about how old he was and all this. And, it's just amazing to be able to talk to folks from all different walks of life and all that stuff. So thank you very much for this. So what was it like moving from Texas to New York City at such a young age?
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I like the amount of creative people here. It's very fast paced. Texas isn't necessarily slow. Like, I think some people might think that it's slow, but it's like where I'm from is like a suburb right outside the city. So, everyone's doing their thing, but I think New York is just so much more creative. There's so much more to see, so much more to do. So I'm loving it.
Cool. And speaking of doing your thing, you are indeed doing your thing, and you've gotten signed to Subpop Records at the tender age of 18. How did that happen?
Yeah, it was like a month after I turned 18 in June. Tony DM'd me on Instagram and was like, hey, I really like your music. And then we just started having meetings, and he knew I was going to school in New York for music business. So we would talk about all things to do with music business. And then eventually I was like, you know what, maybe I will sign with y'all.
There you go.
So I signed like halfway through my first semester here in college, and yeah.
All right. So before we go to the songs, tell me about your recording process.
So basically for this EP, everything was on my phone. So I just I have like the devices here.
Let's see them.
I would plug these in. This is for the guitar. This one is like a preamp for the microphone.
Yep.
And then I would plug it into my iPhone 7, plug it in there, and I would just like lay stuff down. But more specifically, a lot of the songs on the EP started with a rhythm guitar part, and then I would just build on that, like melodies and layers and stuff.
Right. And are you, as far as your songwriting, are you thinking about writing songs all the time, or do you have to sit down and just do it specifically?
Honestly, it just comes in creative spurts, and I'll just feel it, and it's like, okay, I'm gonna go make a song right now. But I try not to force it too much. But yeah, I'm definitely having a good creative moment lately. I've been writing a lot. So yeah,
that's fantastic. And so, are you going to school in New York?
I am. I go to NYU, New York University.
How are you finding that?
I'm having so much fun. A lot of cool people here. I'm loving it.
Very good. Now, the album, or the EP rather, starts out with a song called "My Bones," and it's kind of a little, from what I understand, the message or the inspiration is a little on the dark side. Maybe you can tell me about
that.
You can take my bones and place them how they will find out.
Yeah, so whenever I had made my bones, I just had this synth part, and I pulled it up out of my demos on GarageBand iOS. And it was around June 2020 when there were a lot of Black women or Black trans women who were just going missing, and then they would be found dead. And it was like crazy, the influx of media coverage on it. And I was like, wow, this is like crazy. So I just really wanted to write something about it. And there's not many words in the song because I just felt like what I said spoke enough to the situation. And yeah, I was just really talking about being a Black woman in America, or in the world, really.
Well, I mean, the fact that it has been getting all that media attention is new. I mean, I'm an old guy and I'm from the States, as you can probably tell from my accent. Yeah. So I've experienced the media for a long time. And my feeling, I'm guessing that all this stuff has been happening all along, and now it's only finally being brought to light. So yeah, it's a good thing, even though it's kind of traumatic and tough for people to face.
Definitely.
All right. And then it's followed by a song called Sundown, which
Yes.
is kind of a little more upbeat.
I took some time to myself, thinking needed it was going through hell. I had to breathe a couple minutes just to tell that I was feeling alive.
I remember I was like really stressed out just about school and college. Like you had to start thinking about where you're going for college, and I was just exhausted. So I just really wanted to just talk about that. And that was one of the first times when I made a song and I was like, okay, this is the type of music that I want to be making, and I just have to keep getting better at it. But that was definitely a raw like experience that just came to me very easily. So.
Right. Well, talking about making a song, when did you decide that you could do this, and how did you decide that?
Yeah, I've been doing the phone stuff probably since middle school, since I was like 12, but
Right.
didn't show anyone till I was like 16, and it wasn't good when I first started anyways, so that's okay. We don't need to hear those. But
Okay.
yeah, I think when I was 16, I started putting stuff on SoundCloud and I was like, okay, this is fun. I'm getting good reception. And then when I was 17 and put it on streaming platforms and more people started to notice, that's when I was like, okay, I'm going to lock this in, and there's something I want to try out for sure.
It's pretty cool. But I mean, for a guy like my age, if you think about, oh, I want to be a rock star, I'm going to join a band, or I'm going to go into a studio and get signed and all this stuff. It's a very different environment that you're working in.
Yeah, it's different because I did a lot of stuff by myself, and I was never looking to be a rock star. It just kind of happened.
So the next track is called Think Too Much, and
Mhm.
it's much more fun. I would have to, and there's a video that looks like it was shot in New York City as well that goes along with it, kind of a joyous vibe about that. So tell me about the song and the video. Thank you.
Stuck in the past up until 10, 18. Started thinking I failed, and then I was lazy. You just can't stop me, not really that old. Why does it feel like there's no time to grow? Now I'm searching for words in a place that can find and scary, really easy to like.
Yeah, Think Too Much came about in terms of songwriting. I was thinking about making an EP after Subpop had reached out, and
Right.
I was like, wow, this EP is kind of sad and there's no upbeat song. So I was like, I'm gonna make an upbeat indie pop, like classic pop song. And then I was having trouble doing it. Like I had writer's block, and I was like, okay, this is weird. But then I was like, I'm just thinking too much. So reached out to my friends. I wrote down some of their responses, and then I had some of my own thoughts, and then I just wrote those out, put it in a song. And in terms of the video, yeah, those are all people that are either like in my major or go to NYU, and those are really close friends of mine. So I just reached out to them and was like, you want to run around New York and do a video? And they're like, yeah, let's do it.
And did you just do it on your own without any kind of permits and official stuff?
Somebody else asked us about permits, and we were like, permits? Yeah, we did it
I
without.
love it.
That's so funny. Yeah, we'll look into that next time.
But I imagine, I mean, everybody has a phone and a camera on them. They're shooting all the time. It really, unless you make it really obvious and you set up big lighting rigs and whatever,
Yeah,
you're cool, right?
Yeah, it was super casual. Everyone would just be like, hey, good job, while we would like dance around and sing. So it was good.
And some interesting lyrics in the song. You kind of sing about being stuck in the past, which as an old guy talking to an 18-year-old seems a little bit interesting. And you're not really that old. So do you think about your age a lot, even at this?
I do. I don't know what's wrong with me in age. I just have it's like an issue, but I'm working on it. Yeah. That first line though, stuck in the past up until I turned 18, was actually a line from my friend who was just saying that they think too much about things that happened in the past. Even though we're like young people, it's just, sometimes you stay up at night and you're like, ooh, I remember that one time that I said this and that was so embarrassing. So I think they were really talking about that.
Right.
But I just kind of flipped the lyrics. And then you're just getting started. You're not really that old. It's just what people have said to me. And I'll be like, yeah, I know I'm not that old, but but yeah, I think Too Much is just, it's a silly song in the sense that my anxiety shows in such an overwhelmingly like, this girl does not need to be worrying about this way.
Right.
But like, that's just how the brain works sometimes.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So in general, are you anxious to get older, or are you feeling like it's going too fast?
You know what? I think it's both. It's definitely both, because I remember, yeah, Think Too Much, I made that in the summer. So that was right before I was going off to college. So I
Right.
was a little anxious and I was like, I don't know, this might be going too fast. But it was also like scared of being old and just not having fun. But like, there's lots of older people who are like, I'm glad that I'm older because I'm well respected and then I'm more wise. So yeah, I'm working on it. I'm working
Good
on
on you. Good on you. That's great. And there's another video for the next track, What Is Going On, which is
it.
obviously the title track, which is kind of more of like a traditional love song, I guess.
Yeah.
And the video has you playing with a band on, it looks like on the rooftop someplace.
Yeah.
Who are those folks? And tell me about this song.
Yeah, everyone in the band in the video is also in my music business major.
Okay.
Yeah, people who are just willing, like begging to be in the video. So it's good. It's a lot of fun. And then the people that play the love interest, they go to school at NYU. It's all NYU people. And then in terms of the songwriting for the song and how it came to be, I remember I made What Is Going On out of like a freestyle sort of way. So sometimes I'll just play rhythm guitar and then freestyle a melody and lyrics at the same time.
Right.
And then later on, I was like, okay, so this is what this song is about. So I refleshed it out, rewrote the lyrics. And it's really just about like tiptoeing and infatuation and just being young and whatever.
I'm interested. You're going to NYU. You're signed to Sub Pop Records. You got these songs that everybody's listening to. Are you kind of a superstar in college, or is everyone kind of doing that?
That's the thing, especially at a school like NYU, everyone is doing their own thing. And you go to school with people who are like famous, or
Yeah.
people whose parents, it's a lot of parents that have children that go here and their parents are really big. I know people who are like really cool drag queens, or people who like this, they do this and that. Like there's no limits at NYU. But I will say I've gotten a lot of my support being at NYU, and people just have so much respect for me. Like yesterday I went to the dining hall and people were waving at me and I didn't know who they were, and I felt so bad. And they were like, "Oh, we're so excited for your EP." And I was like, "Oh." Yeah. So I've had a few moments where people would be like, "Hey, you're that girl in the
Right.
music video." And I'm like, "Yeah, it's my music video, but yeah, I'm in
Now,
the
once you
video."
put the video out and you're in the video, you're kind of out, you're public property almost, aren't you?
Yeah, definitely. So people recognize me, especially because of the hair. I think the hair is a thing. Some people
It's
still don't
definitely a
know.
thing.
Yeah.
I wish I had some.
But yeah, it's definitely the hair. Some people still don't even know that I make music here, but I think now people know. But at first, nobody knew. So
Very
yeah.
cool. So music wise, what were you listening to? I hate to say it, in your younger days, they inspired you to make your own music.
Yes. When I first started making music, I'm trying to think. When I first started making indie music, that's when I remember I was drawing from people. And one of the first people I was listening to was the Japanese House, who is close with like the 1975 and is on the Dirty Hit label.
Right.
And I was just obsessed with the idea of using vocals as instrumentation and layering that. So the Japanese House has always been a blueprint. And then for songs like What Is Going On, I was listening to Claro. But then for songs like My Bones, I was listening to Bon Iver, 1975, M83. Yeah, it just depends. But really, my songs definitely show like what I'm consuming at the moment. Yeah.
Right. So, which brings us to the final track on the EP, which is called Bleep, Bloop.
Yeah.
It's kind of a slow, dreamy kind of vibe going on about being kind of caught up out of place a little bit.
They say it's all about just how you make it, but I'm not feeling that way, no, I'm faking. And when it all comes down, I take it. Let there be pain of a world that was shaking.
Yeah, definitely. I made that my last year in high school. It was during the time of like college applications. And I just felt like people sometimes when you're young, I guess, people look at you and they're like, get over it. Like you're still young, whatever.
Right.
But I felt like there wasn't enough attention being paid to mental health, not necessarily within my own household, because my mom is like one of my best friends, but
Right.
I felt like in general, like there's not always the same respect for teenagers whenever they might be going through it and like feeling caught out of place and, but it's like, I talk about the moon and how it's always constant. So it's like the world keeps going, even if you may not feel like it. But yeah, I don't know. It's just a song about my thoughts and how
And
it
speaking of your mother, she makes a little cameo appearance in the sample, right?
does. Yes, she does. And what's funny is she like talks about feeling old, and so it's a common theme.
Yeah, I think it is. I mean, everybody's always thinking about their age, no matter what their age is, and because that's just how human nature is, I guess. So
Definitely. Yeah.
So, are you able to perform in front of an audience in New York? What's the status there these days?
Yeah, the status right now is virtual concerts.
Yeah.
Lots of virtual stuff. I know I've been hearing some talks about the fall and maybe doing some shows in the fall. I think school might open up. I think they're trying to open up by the fall, like in person. So we'll see what happens. Probably still going to be doing like socially distanced stuff, but maybe more in-person opportunities.
Right. There's a lot of talk about vaccinations, especially in the States these days, right?
Yes, I am half vaccinated. I get my second vaccine shot April 21st, 2 days before the EP. So hopefully I'm not sick whenever the EP
No,
comes
I'm
out.
sure you'll be fine. You seem very healthy and robust and very happy too. So you seem like you're having a ball.
You know what? I am. My music is like kind of sad, but most of the time I'm pretty laid back and just having a good time.
Very. And so when you do perform live, do you play with the band that's on the video, or do you do it solo, or how does it work?
Yeah, so far all the stuff that I've done in the past, it's either been solo or I had a band that was made up of, I was in drumline in high school. So I had a band that was full of 2 drumline members and like another marching band member. And we just did backyard shows. I would throw backyard shows like in my backyard. So I haven't really had the chance to play with any like crazy NYU musicians or people in the local New York area because of COVID, but we'll see. I'd love to play with the band. Yeah, that's fun.
And once the EP is out, are you thinking ahead musically? What you want to do next?
Oh, definitely thinking ahead. I've already started writing a bunch of stuff, demoing a lot of things. I definitely want to do a record for next year. So I'm working on it.
Good on you. Well, I can't wait to hear you.
Thank you.
And maybe you can even come down here and perform sometime. We're kind of COVID free, but we have, you have quarantines and stuff to make it difficult for people to come.
Right. Yeah. How is that? Are you guys still doing mask or no, not even?
Not really. The only time we have to, I think if we go on public transportation, like on the bus, we're supposed to wear a mask. So, but that's really it.
Yeah. That's really cool that y'all handled it.
Well, it is easier to do in a country of 5 million that's surrounded by water, so it helps. But still, I mean, we had leadership, which also helps, which possibly the states didn't have as much of.
You are completely right. We did not have that leadership. Our leadership was convinced that COVID was fake. So,
so is that feeling better now that things have changed in that respect?
Honestly, I don't know. It's a subtle feeling better, but I think we still got a lot of work to do, and we have to hold our new leaders accountable.
Yep.
We'll see. We'll see.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much for talking to me. I appreciate it. Been a real pleasure. Hopefully
Thank
things
you.
will go well next week when the record comes out, or the EP.
Yes.
We'll take her from there.
Yes. Thank you so much.
My
This
pleasure.
was
Bye-bye.
Bye.